Storytelling Podcast, episode number 68. Welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, where everything's fictional, even you. And now, here are your hosts, two guys and a girl who lie for a living, Garrett, Zach, and Chrissy. Almost. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Storytelling Podcast, the podcast that's all about fiction, and more fiction, and telling the best truths through the medium of lies. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-hosts, Chrissy Moss and Scott Richards. Not with me, as always, faithful co-host Z.C. Bolger, who decided he was too good for a podcast today because he's, like, getting married this Sunday, and he's got crap to do. Whatever. Excuses. We went to his bachelor party. I went to his bachelor party this weekend, which was in Las Vegas, and it was amazing.
I saw the video.
Yes,
what you chose to show.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we all know that they don't allow cameras in the strip clubs. So.
Yeah, seriously, everybody there was like, "Dude, you're gonna let us see the video before you send it out or whatever, right?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, totally." But they said that before the party happened. We didn't do anything. We didn't go to strip clubs. Zach's not into that. We didn't, all we did was gamble and drink. It's like, whoa.
Hooligans.
I know, right? It's like, whoa, they went to Las Vegas and played poker? Degenerates.
Your video is just 3 hours of the poker face.
Yeah.
If I went to Las Vegas, I would have to go at least and see Bite.
Bite? What's Bite?
Topless vampires.
Done. Oh, dude, I'm there.
Do you hear my boyfriend? He's like, done.
I'm going there right now. F this noise. No, it was a lot of fun, and Zach, you know how it is right before you get married. He's just everywhere. By the way, anybody who is watching the YouTube feed live will notice there's a little title underneath me with today's question, your favorite unfinished series. So that has to do with what we're talking about tonight. So let us know in the comments. This is a new thing. It's like question of the day. So let us know in the comments of the video what your favorite unfinished series is, and we'll tell you what our favorites are when we
actually want viewer responses.
I know, we actually want people to talk to us tonight. Normally, I'm not a big fan of people, but tonight I thought that we would actually invite some feedback and whatever. It's probably going to end up being a terrible idea, and I'm probably never going to do it again. In fact, in the future, I'm probably going to turn comments off. But,
And now that we're on the topic, already regretting it.
Exactly. So, what's been up, guys? How's your week been?
Busy writing.
Yeah? How's your nano?
I am 3,000 words behind.
I forget how many words I am behind. I'm gonna pull up my nano right now.
Yeah, I had a day where I just got busy and only got 500 words done because I was tired, and I caught up the next day.
Uh-huh.
And then, 2 days later, and I was doing good, and everything was going great, and then my daughter calls and said, "Hey, Mom, I'm on my way home from Portland." And I was like, oh, okay.
You were like, nope, stay away.
Well, it just meant that I had to, drive down, sit there for a while, pick her up when the bus finally got there, drive home. So a whole day of no writing.
That's fantastic. Well, I checked. You're doing better than me because I'm 8,000 words behind. But tomorrow I'm getting back into writing mode, and so I'll probably catch up in the next day or two.
But did you not start on November 1st?
I didn't start on November 1st. No, I actually started writing on November 2nd. November 2nd? November 7th.
It
November
doesn't count
7th is when I started writing.
7th? That's even worse.
I know.
You're not even part of the group.
I'm not even in it for realsies.
You're just like a guy that pushes himself into the ring of friends and then just starts laughing.
Exactly. That was hilarious.
I'm part of the conversation.
What are we
We're
talking
all
about?
fun.
I don't get it.
And you
Scott, are
never
you-
will.
Scott, are you doing Nano? I don't remember.
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm the jerk that doesn't do Nano.
You're too good for it, huh? Who's too good for NaNoWriMo?
I wouldn't say yes.
Yes. Well, I published today, actually. Oh, I even forgot to check if it's live. But I published Mystic episode 2. So that is the 10th episode in Nightblade. Yeah, it's not live. Yes, it is. No, hold on.
That's freaking me out, man.
I don't even know what's happening. Yep, it's live. So it's out there. It's only 99 cents. Little shameless self-plug here. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before or not, but Mystic is going Kindle Unlimited, or the Kindle Owners Lending Library. You know, it's KDP Select. So if you are if you're a what do you call it?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Well, if you're
it's a separate subscription. You have to be subscribed to KU.
yeah,
Well, Unlimited is.
yeah, unlimited.
What
So
are you
if you're
talking about?
yeah, if you're on
Well, he said KDP
God damn it,
Select.
Scott, pay attention.
I am paying attention.
You have to be in KDP Select in order for your books to be in KU, which allows people who are signed up for KU to access your books for free.
Right.
Well,
Well, you mentioned the lending library, which you have to be in.
Yes, but that's
Prime.
totally different.
I know it is, but that's what he said.
So, anyways, if you were in Kindle
You go on.
Unlimited, you can go read Mystic Episode 2 for free right now. Except it's not showing that option on the page right now.
It might take a couple days.
Yeah, it hasn't technically published yet. Like, if I go to my dashboard, it's still all yellowed out, so you might have to wait for it for a minute.
Mic drop.
Yeah, it was funny when I went to go publish it. Oh, I got a nice little spike of free downloads today. I wonder why that is. When I went to go publish it today, I opened up the publishing dashboard for Kindle and Kobo and Smashwords, and I published it to Kindle, and then I was halfway through publishing it to Kobo, and I was like, oh wait, not doing that.
So, I actually have like 4 or 5 titles that are now in KU.
Yeah, are you getting what do you call it? Borrows?
Borrows? A few, not very many.
I'm
But-
getting a few.
Do you just have to be in KDP Select and then you're automatically enrolled?
Yes.
Yeah, there's not even an option. Like you're KDP Select and boom, you're in. So,
No, that's cool because I'm moving all of my stuff back to KDP Select. So
yeah, I'm sticking with the self-publishing podcast strategy. I'm not moving anything back, but until somebody, sorry.
New titles are going in there?
Yeah, until somebody else does something interesting somewhere else, because Kobo has dipped significantly on Realm Keepers, and nobody is buying Nightblade on Kobo. I think I have sold literally 1 copy of Nightblade on Kobo, and Realm Keepers is just kind of trucking along. So I'm like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go KDP Select. Like, I'm sorry.
I've gotten 45
happened.
cents from Kobo.
Yeah.
So
Zach and I mean, we've told you, Zach, Kobo used to be 40 to 50% of our income used to come from Kobo for Realm Keepers, and then it just
nosedive.
yeah. And what's really weird is that it was going up, up, up. We published Wormspire, and then it went up one more month, and then it just started not nosediving, but planing off. And it's like you'd think, I don't know. It seems like it would.
weird.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Too, and the whole website goes, oh.
Oh. Well, F this noise.
Never mind.
Oh my.
So, did you publish it as a series over there?
You mean Realm Keepers?
Yeah, publish them as separate books.
Yeah. Published it both ways. Both of them both ways. You can get it as volumes. You can get it as the episodes. But anyway, yeah. So I'm getting borrows. I'm actually in a bit of a quandary right now because I'm getting borrows on Mystic. Like I don't know how many, but if a couple dozen. But here's the thing. I'm getting borrows on Mystic episodes, which are 99-cent episodes. which are 35% royalties. So but the borrow gives me $1.35.
Right.
Hey,
So I'm gonna.
hey,
I'm
you know
gonna
how
hit-
you can tell who's cheap?
Yeah.
well, yeah, but that's fine. The point is for them to borrow unlimited, and there's no way for them to continue reading the series right now. Like if they are reading Nightblade, they can't get the volume. All they can do is read the episode. So I'm like, cool. So people in unlimited are reading the thing. When
Right.
I finish all 8 episodes of Mystic, I'm sort of like, maybe I shouldn't publish the volume. I don't know, because if somebody reads all 8 episodes, that's what is it? $1.30 times 8.
You could publish the volume and just not have the volume in KDP Select.
No, but you can't do that because, well, I guess you
If you
could.
don't put it in the other things, then you can.
So
Yeah,
don't make it
as
KDP
long as
Select,
it's-
but just don't publish it anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really gaming the system, and I'm sort of like,
Well, in a way, you would already be doing that by not making a volume. Period.
well, no, because
You're
then
still denying it.
it's just not there.
But you do the volume for all your other stories. You're not as sly as you think you is.
No, but I mean, like, I don't know. So that's my quantum theory. That's where I'm like, I feel kind of weird.
Well, that's why I started putting all my short stories in KDP Select, because why not?
Right.
They're good.
Yeah, totally. If somebody gets them, then
If nothing else, you have until you write the thing, and then you can see how the borrow's like. I mean, if it's viable, you could be like, meh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of a gain, then you might as well just put out the volume.
Yeah, totally. But on a related note, like for some reason the Amazon UK store, where I'm just doing great, doing fantastic. I'm doing okay in the US too, but but yeah, man, whoever's reading me over on Amazon UK, you guys are awesome because you're buying a lot of fucking books right now.
Thanks, all of the UK.
I know, all of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. I really got to get caught up on Mystic. I'm already supposed to be sending the episodes of the 3rd book to my Patreon patrons and my subscribers. The first episode was supposed to go this Friday, the day that I left for Vegas. That didn't happen, but yeah, I really got to get caught up on that But now things are like calming down a little bit, so. We'll see. See what happens. I want to catch up by the end of the year.
Well, I have been spending the week taking care of a sick family, and now it's finally passed on to me, kinda.
Oh.
Dealing with that. Yep. So I'm a little sick, but not quite there. It's the war is being waged, and I haven't quite lost yet. Other than that, I've been sort of reformatting and rebranding the serials that I have out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making some into just novels, others into volumes instead of the serialization. I'm kind of moving away from that. It was fun while I was doing it, but I kind of just realized it's not. I don't think it's how I want to pursue things from
Right.
here on out. So having some covers redone and working on reformatting. And then I'm also running. This actually just started today. I am running a special promo with Rafflecopter in an attempt to get more reviews for Book 2, Defenders of the Shroud. So today and tomorrow, Defenders is free. So
Is there a link for that?
there will be. See, I'm giving the subscribers on my mailing list a head start. So they all got the links and all the information for that. I'll be posting on my blog the full links, and I'll also be writing this weekend for Defenders if anybody wants to pick it up free.
Well, if you give me the link in chat, I will put it in the video description right now, and you could grab some people right now. I'm just saying.
I could do that.
Oh,
You're
You
talking
don't
about.
have to if you want to save it for your blog. Just saying.
Well, I mean, you know, My book is out already. Are you talking about the book or the Rafflecopter link?
The Rafflecopter.
I'll have to hunt that down, but I'll send it to you in a minute.
Or both.
Cool.
Or both. Yeah. So
I just want to point out, because this is self-serving, that Max Derpich, Max, one day you got to tell me how to pronounce your last name. I've known you for like 40 years and I do not know. But Max, my friend from Sweden, commented that his favorite unfinished series is Nightblade. Duh.
duh.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And for anybody who has tuned in since the start of the show, today's question is your favorite unfinished series. Let us know in the comments, meaning just that it's currently unfinished, not necessarily that it never got finished. Chrissy, what are you working on for Nano again? I forget. What's the book called?
Mermaid's Curse.
Mermaid's Curse.
I finished the first book in the trilogy. The second book is almost finished, and the third book is, I'm like 30% in, I think.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's going swimmingly. Oh no. Well, if it's going to be about 50,000 words like the other two sections, it's about halfway finished.
Sweet. For some reason, I thought the Mermaid's Curse was already done. I don't know why I thought that. But clearly,
because I did finish the first book in it.
Right. Okay, so it's a Okay, good. Got it.
I'm working on the third book now.
Got it. All right. So I could not, for some reason, alter the description. I think because it was just all that's in there right now is a link. But I put the link to Scott's giveaway in the YouTube video description. So anybody watching, go into the comments of the video, find my comment of Scott's giveaway, and go enter yourself to win. I think I have a Goodreads giveaway running right now. I don't remember.
Well, with the Rafflecopter, all you have to do is review Defenders, and then copy the link to your review into the Rafflecopter, and it
yeah.
And then you get basically the prize at the end is a $20 Amazon gift card, so it'll just run through that, and that ends on the 5th to give people a chance to read it.
Really, I hope more people review this and sign up, because I don't want to win it just because I'm the only person who did.
So far, 2 people have actually.
Oh, okay, so I have a 50% chance now.
Yeah, because if people have already read it and reviewed it, then all they have to do is grab the current link to the review and put it in. Still counts. Still
counts. I just had me.
So you should have at least 4 entries.
8. Yeah.
Oh, 8.
So yeah.
All right, I just put another link in the comments to my Goodreads giveaway. That is for 3 copies of Nightblade. Obviously, you wouldn't get 3 copies. 3 people are going to win 1 copy. So
it's a week of giveaways. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas.
Dude, I did a big promo push for Nightblade last week, and I didn't get depressingly bad.
Nada.
I was just like, I mean, it moved about. Let me pull it up here. It moved about 55 more copies than I was getting week to week on a week to week basis. If that makes sense. Yeah. So it was like, but like, dude, for what I invested and the time I invested and everything like that. Freaking BookBub, man. F BookBub.
Oh, yeah.
Screw those guys. It's just
Did you get the BookBub ad? And
no,
it didn't work
no, not at all.
I think that's why he's saying screw BookBub.
Yeah, it's like,
who knows? I don't know.
And yet they continue to take this girl. What's this chick's name that everybody makes fun of? Morgan something? Morgan.
Fairchild. Freeman.
Yeah, Morgan. No, Freeman. No, no. It's Damn it! What's her name?
I have no idea.
Fantastic! Such good book covers. And that's probably why BookBub takes every single goddamn
good book covers.
Yeah. Her name. Her books are not bad, right? But they're so terribly edited, spelling and grammar all the f over the place. But she's on BookBub like every goddamn week, it seems like, which is super annoying.
I didn't think they took you.
I know. I didn't think so either. She's there like all the time, and she's one of those, she's one of the fantasy authors out there who's doing really, really well. And I was like, this chick sounds awesome. I have to go pick up one of her books. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Like, why? And meanwhile, I'm out here busting my ass. I do dislike that. I try not to be jealous, because jealousy just doesn't look good on anyone. But, what's her damn name? I won't rest until I found this now.
If nothing else, it can also be sort of an opportunity to try to dissect the success and try to figure out what exactly is what's drawing them in.
Exactly, and like you want to figure out what's going on, but it's just like I mean, for me, I know what's going on. She's on BookBub all the damn time. Of course, she's doing fantastically. But why the hell is she on? But that's the problem. Why the hell is she on BookBub?
Because
Is her name Morgan Page?
Might be Morgan Page.
No, that can't be it. Those are terrible covers, and that's not fantasy.
I don't know, Garrett, were you being sarcastic?
No. She has really good covers. That was what drew me in. I kept seeing her on BookBub. I was like, she's been here a couple of times, and then I checked out her book, and yeah.
Look on Kindle. You have her book on your Kindle, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Let's see here.
Because I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing lots of Nora Roberts.
It might not be Morgan. I could be totally wrong about that.
They have a Game of Thrones on here?
They have Game of Thrones on where?
On BookBub for like $2.90. I've never looked at BookBub before.
I've glanced at it in passing as, kind of like window shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you press your face to the glass and you kind of just go, someday I'll actually go in here.
Morgan Rice. Morgan freaking Rice.
I know thee not.
Ugh.
But apparently she's amazing.
Her book covers are fantastic. I mean, seriously, get on Amazon right now and look at her fantasy book covers.
I think
To our live viewers, this is where the show comes to a complete stop.
Anyway, nobody is. Hold on, my comments aren't really working. Oh,
Hi,
here we go.
Everybody that said hi in the comments.
Yeah, Seth Rake said, hi, everybody. Good to make it here for the live show. Hope all of you are doing well. Gary Robinson, when's the next Authorpreneur video launching? I know you've been insanely busy with different projects, but these videos you've been outing together. Outing together? Pudding. I think that's supposed to be pudding. Together have been helping me out quite a bit. No, it's outing. Yeah, I actually put a post on Sterling and Stone's blog this week. Sean put me on timeout.
Really?
Yeah, because when I first brought the idea of Nuts and Bolts to him, he was like, that sounds awesome, Garrett. Now, are you actually going to be able to do it? And I was like, yeah. Totally, no problem. Nope, I'm all over it. And then I did it for 7 weeks, and then like things kept coming up, so I missed 1 week, and I was 7 weeks straight. I was all good, and then I missed a week, and Sean was like, "Dude," and I was like, "Don't worry, it's all good." And then the next week on Monday morning, when the video was supposed to already be scheduled and published and everything like that, Sean was like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna be on timeout for now until your life calms down," because he understands. Sean is like Sean is way more understanding than I would probably be in the same situation. He's like, "Your life is crazy right now." With professional and personal stuff. Get it calmed down, then make a bunch of Nuts and Bolts videos, get like 4 of them in the can, scheduled in advance, ready to go, and then we'll start releasing them. So that, and I was like, okay. But it's like, it's totally the right call. It's absolutely the right thing to do. So I'm going to get everything chilled out. I'm probably going to catch up on Nightblade is what I'm going to do. Finish the Ninja Bread Man 2, and then start making Nuts and Bolts again with my life once again in order. So there you go.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. So sorry, Seth, that it's not there right now, but I will be getting back to it. Buddy Gott made another comment, which I'm just gonna hit because it's self-serving once again. He said, "Not a series book, but I want to recommend Garrett's book Rebel Yell to those who haven't read it yet. I loved it." Thank you, buddy. You're awesome, dude.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
You heard of that book?
I heard of that book. I don't know. I can't remember from where though.
Yeah, I think I saw the cover once.
The cover sucked.
Oh, you actually just insulted both of us, Scott, because Chrissy worked on that cover.
You think I don't know that? Of course. I am all about economy with the insults.
And we also missed Buddy's comment. Greetings, friends. Hi, Buddy. Buddy is my buddy on NaNoWriMo, and when he became my buddy, I cracked up. It says, "You have a new buddy on NaNoWriMo," and I was like, "Oh, awesome!" So I clicked on the link, and it said "Buddy," and I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Pretty fantastic.
Simple man.
I am a simple man. I take pleasure in very, very simple things. So, why don't we answer the question of the day? What's your guys' favorite unfinished series?
Dresden.
Dresden, good. That's a good series.
Yeah, I just read the last one that just came out, and so I also read the Kim Harrison novels that are a lot like the Dresden novels, only with the female lead role.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I'm reading now is the last book in the series. She stopped at 13. She's completing all the storylines and knocking everything out, and it's just done. The Dresden, well, I think that's a good thing to do. If you're on a high, you should, leave with a good ending instead of dragging it on forever.
Right.
So there's something to be said for that. The Dresden one that I just read was Skin Game, and I love Dresden, I really do, but this one read like Ocean's 11 meets Wizarding.
Ugh, that's not good.
No, it ended up being a really good book, but at the beginning I was like, this is like Ocean's 11. They're gathering a team of people to go in and steal from this great big huge vault in the mystical world.
Uh-huh.
And he has, like, all of his magic items and stuff have been stripped away from him over time, and he just has to go in there knowing that the person he's doing this with wants to kill him. So it ends up being a fantastic book, but at the same time, it's Ocean's 11 meets Wizarding.
Okay, all right. Seth said it was supposed to say pudding. Haha, I'm kicking myself in the nuts over that typo. Seth.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, don't kick yourself. I don't know. Can you kick yourself in the nuts? I've never actually tried, but
It's a lot easier to accidentally sit on them.
oh, dude. I do that like once per episode. Anybody ever wants to like play like an Easter egg game with Storytelling Podcast, just keep your eyes on the video, and at one point I'll just be like,
I don't even.
See, for me, it's just this slow growth where it's like, boom, and you go.
it's more of a freeze and just.
And it gets worse as it sets in. It's like brace.
You guys
brace, here
make
it
me
comes.
happy I'm a girl.
Yeah. Well, we don't have periods, so I'll take the trade-off.
Virtual high five.
Virtual high five. Scott, favorite unfinished series?
I am that guy that tends to
boy.
not get into something until it's done.
Okay.
So I've read a lot of finished series. There's not a lot that I've read that's been unfinished. I will say Game of Thrones is one of the ones
Cool.
finished. I
Good
really
call.
enjoyed those back when I was reading them.
Mhm.
I've read the first few of the Dresden books, and I really enjoyed those. I haven't been on a hunt, but I do like those. So I would say
I don't think there's an ending to it, so.
A current unfinished series so far would be Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings.
You know,
That is,
I
love that, man.
I need to. Okay. Let me phrase this. let me phrase this a different way. The next thing I'm going to read is Sanderson.
There's something of his.
I've literally never read him before, which is just one of those things where it's like everybody's like, well, of course there's Sanderson, and I'm just like, yeah.
I think honestly, I think Sanderson appeals to a certain personality type.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that it's really all broad fantasy because different people like different things about fantasy. But with Sanderson's, he's got fantastic world building, really imaginative, unique magic systems. That's one thing I really appreciate about him. Good characters, and the politics isn't horrifically dry and boring. Like, you're into the politics as it's happening. He somehow keeps it, like, a little ramped up. So when you're in the politics, like, you're interested. And that's the thing about Game of Thrones. Like, you're going through the politics, you're like, okay, yeah, and you're conniving. Oh, you're a bitch, okay. And you're just kind of flipping through it, waiting for the next thing to happen.
Yeah.
With Sanderson, it's a little more involved. You feel a little more, like, drawn.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about the TV show is that it just doesn't. They know that they can't afford to dwell too much on the slightly more boring aspect, so they don't, and they just are like, and like this political thing happened, and now we're moving on, and you're like, well, okay, cool, yeah, all right, ooh, boobs,
Ooh, boobies.
Boobs.
Mostly boobs.
Have you guys watched the honest trailers for Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
The best thing ever.
Actually, one of my favorite things is the bad lip rating.
Oh, that's amazing! But that's like that's a work of art. That's not just
Fantasy Fun Time Land. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Bad lip reading is always kind of good. It's always good. It's like, okay, this is cool. It's funny. Some of them are really funny. That is a work of art. That made me. That's one of my favorite YouTube videos ever.
Yeah. You want to talk favorite unfinished series? That.
Yeah, exactly. Like, seriously, I kind of want to make that movie. Like,
no,
I kind of want to go make that movie.
You're watching it, you're like, I would watch that movie.
I would watch the shit out of that movie.
I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it. Yeah.
If we're going to talk series that have never been made, Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
Ugh.
There you go. Good. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
No. My favorite unfinished series is probably not going to be a surprise to most people. The better you know me, the less it will be a surprise. The Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss.
I really need
I'm getting my third book. I need it so badly. I
really need to read something by Rothfuss.
Dude. I will say that the Kingkiller Chronicles took me 1 or 2 chapters where I was like, what the hell? Like, it didn't interest me for the first couple of chapters.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't as bad as freaking Ready Player One, which I ended up loving, but like the whole first,
70 pages.
Yeah, had the conversation, yeah.
Yeah, 70 pages, but this was like 25, 30, 35 pages. But I was like, okay, it was just enough to keep me going. But then in the end, it was just, oh my god. So like, I really need, and I hope he doesn't extend it. I hope that the third book is it. I hope it is the end. For my sake and for his sake, because people will be angry.
It is helpful that you do read fast.
Yes, well, that's true, but the whole George R. R. Martin thing of, wasn't it supposed to be 4 books originally or 5 books?
I don't know.
No, but and he writes like 100 words a week.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be, I know it was at one point it was going to be 5. I think it was originally going to be 4, and then he was like, well, let's do 5, and then he was like, well, let's do 6. And then I read an article recently where he was like, so I called my publisher and I said, I don't think 6 is going to be enough. I think I got to do 7. And they said, George, if you want to do 8, we'll give it to you. Like, you can write as many books as you want. And he was like, well, I could turn it into 8. That's not a bad idea. And I was just like, fuck you, George! God damn it!
At this point, I'm just watching the show. It's like they deviate just a little in the show.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't need 2 separate story timelines going in my head. It's like I read I read the first 4 books.
Right.
That was all that was out at the time, and actually, it was just the first 3 when I first started reading, and then the 4th one came out, and I read that, and now it's just like, you know what, whatever. I like the story. They're doing a good enough job on HBO. I'll just finish that out that way.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, Peter Dinklage. You can't, there's no...
Oh,
That
absolutely.
man is amazing.
He's fantastic. I think one of the
Anyway.
first places I saw him was Death at a Funeral.
So now, one of my big life goals or dreams or whatever you want to call it, and I don't know if they might already be working on this for all I know. They probably are, considering the popularity of the series. But I want to make the Patrick Rothfuss movies. That is a big goal of mine, since I didn't get to do any of the goddamn Lord of the Rings, goddamn Hobbit fan competition. I didn't want to say it. 75 motherfuckers that went down to New Zealand when I was as big a fan as I was. All right. Move on. Let's get on topic. So tonight we want to talk about stalling on a series, and when you're writing a series and then all of a sudden you just... one thing or another happens. Now, I want to clarify a couple things. This is my topic tonight. So I don't want to talk, we're not talking about just you're not writing it. For example, Hit Girls is not stalled. I actually know that's going to be 3 books. I know what's going to happen in the second one. I just need to sit down and write it, and I have plans to do that next year. It's just not a priority because nobody buys the goddamn book. Like, nobody buys Hit Girls. Or a very, very, very tiny number of people. So it's like,
I bought it.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense, considering it sells literally about 5% of Realm Keepers and about 15% of everything else. It's my least popular series. It just doesn't make sense. So that's not stalled. But for example, on Non-Zombie, I am stalled, and there's going to be one more Non-Zombie, but I just am like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I have no idea what's going to go on next. So that's one way of stalling, where you don't know what to do next. And then another one is Ninja Bread Man, where you're just sort of like,
Whatever.
you
You
know?
have 2 chapters left to go.
I know, and I'm just, I don't know. A multitude of factors have contributed to me feeling very meh. Although I am honor bound now because Zach told me over the weekend he did finish the book. He just didn't
No
want.
way.
Yeah, he finished. He finished Riddlemaster.
So now you're obligated, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm obligated. But he didn't want to tell me because he knew all of the
All of everything.
yeah, the real life stuff that was happening and blah 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 blah. But now I know, so now I need to write it. Anyway.
Scott needs to read it now.
Yeah, Scott.
Apparently now I gotta get on it. And actually, you know what? Type it in the chat, and I'll make a point of snagging it after the show.
Do it.
I can actually talk about this topic because I am stalling my my series at the moment because I have to. I have to pause writing this one because I have to write something else first.
Okay.
So I get it. I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand this time.
So, series can stall for a number of different reasons. Lack of interest or lack of knowing what's happening next. I think that lack of interest can be difficult to solve if you're just not... See, that's really hard, because if you're just not interested in a series and continuing going, to one degree, you shouldn't feel obligated. You shouldn't feel like people are you shouldn't feel forced to go on. I mean, it is your art and you should do your own thing. But at the same time, I mean, what would be your reaction if George R. R. Martin was like, I just don't feel like writing book 6. I think I'm done with Game of Thrones. you do to some degree have an obligation to your fans. I mean, you have an obligation to your fans in the sense that if you don't fulfill the obligation, you shouldn't expect them to continue to support you, and you shouldn't be surprised if they're like, "Well, screw you, we don't," and you're like, "You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put out this other book, and I'm not ever going to finish Game of Thrones." And if nobody buys your new book, don't be surprised. So in other words, you don't have to continue. Just don't be surprised if people don't. Anyway, but if you're just not interested in continuing a series, I think that's a little harder to solve than if you don't know what should happen next. What do you guys think? Would you rather lose interest in a series, or rather be totally in the dark about what you should do with it next?
Rather?
I kind of feel like that's the same thing. Like, if you lose interest in a series, part of it is because it might be that you don't like the direction you were headed, and so either you have to choose a different direction to make it more interesting to yourself and thus the readers,
right?
Or you have to just let it go.
Let it go. We'll never be able to say that again. We'll never be able to say that phrase again.
Let it go.
It was a nice falsetto, bro.
I think not knowing what to do with the series is separate from losing interest. However, I would say that if you've lost interest, it can lead into the not knowing what to do.
Right.
I don't think they're necessarily the same, but they can be connected.
Right, like if I'm still interested in Non-Zombie, if I knew what the third one was supposed to be, I'd write it next week. But I
right.
didn't.
I think that if you have a series and like you've lost interest in it, I think that's an issue. You obviously either didn't know where you were going with it in the first place because you're not motivated enough to write till the end, or like you've just done something that I can't see. I'm trying to relate, but I can't even fathom that. Like losing interest like midway through, like, this sucks. It's like, why'd you start writing it in the first place?
And I think that's the key. I think that's the key to solving it, is that you have to remember why you started writing it in the first place. And if you, see, this is hard for me to say because I always think I know, or I always have an idea where I want a series to end before I start it. But,
yeah.
But I know other people that's not always the case. But if you do know what the ending was supposed to be and you feel like you've deviated from too much, then the process can just become figure out how to get back on track to that ending. That could be a solution for getting that back on track in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, for me personally, like I get a ton of ideas, and then it's just the ones that I get the most excited about are the ones I say. So, like, let's arbitrary numbers. Let's say I come up with, like, 20 ideas in a day, but, like, 3 of them have me, like, super hyped pumped and I can't stop thinking about them.
Right.
Those are the ones I'm going to write. So it's like, I'm going to write those. I'm really excited about them, and it's going to keep me all the way through to the end. So because of that, I've never really lost interest midway on anything. I've gotten burnout on writing.
Yeah, but I think that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's different.
I think one thing that you learn through just doing it for a while, which may be part of my problem, is knowing if something is a series. For example, the idea for Rebel Yell. Okay, here's the thing. For Non-Zombie, totally could have just been the first book, and that would have been it, because the idea was just a guy gets bitten and wakes up as a zombie but can think and act and is intelligent.
Right.
Is that really series material? Maybe not, because by the time I do write the third book, that will be about 50,000 words. So that's a short novel. It's not like I wouldn't be interested in continuing that on as a series. So maybe it was a mistake to try and make it a series. Whereas on Rebel Yell, when I came up with the concept of that, I knew, I was like, this is a novel. This is one story. It's going to start. It's going to have a middle. It's going to have an end. And just trying to make that into a series is just kind of a ridiculous idea. But I think that's something that you can only learn from trying and failing. That can be a thing where you come up with like a cool concept, gingerbread man who happens to be a ninja, and you're like, well, maybe that's not. Maybe that joke doesn't play out for a whole series of books.
Yeah, no, Landon's Prison was that for me. I had fallen so hard in love with the concept, I was blinded to the fact that there wasn't enough story to fill out the whole story. So that
What is Landon's? What is it?
Landon's Prison.
I don't know that.
I've kept it up. It was going to be like a series, like a serial, but then by the end of it, I just realized like there's not enough there. So I'm that's one of the ones I'm reformatting, and I'm just changing it from a serial into just a novel. It'll just be a one-shot novel, and that'll be it. Because I mean, the story's still decent, and I still love the concept. I mean, I still think it's awesome. It messes with like genetic memory, and bioengineering and all that stuff. It's fun. But yeah, so that was one where I realized, yeah, I can't continue this. But I mean, I still liked it and I still finished it. It's just to continue it now with him as a main character, I think that'd be a mistake. However, I still think he'd be like a strong side character, so I might keep him around and like throw him into some other sci-fi novel later, just as a fun little. Oh my God, I know that guy.
Yeah, didn't Ed Robertson do something similar? Didn't he? I remember back in the day, he was trying to launch a new time travel serial, and this was years back on the SPP, well, a year and a half or whatever, and then the next time he was on the show, he was like, "Yeah, we decided to kill it." Like it was just, he was like, he either didn't like the response from the readers or he didn't enjoy the project as much as he thought he was going to. So he just wrapped it up and he made it a one shot. It was like, here is a book. It is a book, I respect people who can do something like that.
Well, I've had short stories that I've been writing and I've killed in the middle because it wasn't working for whatever reason. So
F this.
Well, it's like my Zombie Swarm. I love that story. It's a great story. Somewhere inside of me, it has it's there, but I can't write it now.
Right.
I just can't.
I have those stories too that I love the story. I know exactly how the story is going to work. The characters, the story, beginning, middle, end, the whole thing. I know exactly how it works. I can't write it.
Right.
It's not going to happen as a book. I've tried numerous times. God only knows what reason. I can't write it.
Well, for me, usually it's something's missing. Like with Mermaid's Curse.
Needs to be visual for me.
I started writing it. I got it, like 50,000 words into it, and something was missing, and I had to figure out what that something was before I could continue. And once I found that something, everything just kind of fell into place, and I ended up with 3 books instead of 1. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Garrett, maybe you can turn one of these stories that I can't write into a movie. I'll write the script for you and you can make it.
I'd love to. I'm
Not that he already doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff on his plate, but
yeah.
He's fine. It's not a big deal.
Honestly, though, it's like I'm trying to get, like I'm still in that stage where I'm trying to get so many balls up in the air. I'm trying to keep so many things going because, and I don't know if this is smart. I don't know if it's best to just stick with one thing until it succeeds. But what I'm kind of trying to do right now is keep a bunch of things going until one of them is suddenly successful, and then sort of let everything fall off until you stabilize that one thing. And that's what I'm trying to do with Nightblade. I'm trying to, like, Nightblade is now doing better than any of my other book series. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to focus on that. So that's why I have not finished Ninjabread Men, and why we're not working on the next Realm Keepers, and why I'm not doing Hit Girls right now is because Nightblade seems like it might be the thing. And that's why I'm not particularly concerned about Nuts and Bolts, because I think that by the time I get back to Nuts and Bolts, it's going to be 10 times more awesome, because
Mhm.
I won't be worried about life in general because Nightblade
Right.
will just be the thing. So,
Right.
I don't know what that has to do with stalling on a series, but anyway.
Just writing and coming back to something when you have interest in time and everything.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Time.
it's still relevant. It's still relevant.
It's still relevant.
You're fine.
And
You're
then
fine.
sometimes like a project will stall. This isn't really a writing series. Well, no, this is what happened with Hit Girls. Also happened with another show that I tried to do on this channel, Garrett's Games. It was like I would play games and post gameplay footage. 3 people would watch it. I was like, well, fuck that. Like, there's no fucking point putting in the effort because like each of those videos takes me like a half an hour. It's like I'm not gonna put in a half an hour of work for 3 friggin' views. That just doesn't work.
Well, it does take time to get other viewers.
No, that's true, but like that's the point. Is that right now I already am
Right.
not vlogging consistently every day, and my vlogs get viewers. And I mean, Hank Green's going through the same thing. He started Games with Hank. Now, of course, he was immediately doing a lot better than I was, but he still only has like 70,000 subscribers, whereas his other big channels, Vlog Brothers and Crash Course, have 2 million subscribers.
Oh, is that
It's like, but he's hiring somebody to edit those videos, and still at like 60,000 views a day, you're looking at what are you looking at?
money stuff? Handshakes?
You're looking at like $60 a day. So $60 a day when all he's doing is playing video games and then paying somebody to edit the video.
Well, somebody
edit-
to record them and edit, yeah, because
Right,
they're
but
in the
still-
background.
Yeah, still that person is looking at like 3 or 4 hours of work for $60 a day. That's fantastic. I would take a gig like that right now, happily.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for him to do the time investment, and it doesn't make sense for me to do the time investment. And similarly, it doesn't make sense for me to allocate time, which I already don't have enough of, to Hit Girls when, it just the response isn't there. Like everybody's like, well, this was cool, but we want more dragons,
I think having your fingers in so many pies, as it were, is a good idea, but it is definitely something where you have to be cautious of overextending.
Right.
Because you
Well-
spread yourself too thin, and then just the quality is going to suffer. It just is. It's fact.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the difference between the self-publishing podcast. They have a thing already in place.
Right.
And so that allowed Johnny and Sean to branch out and do a whole bunch of new things.
Right.
But that was because they already had a foundation. Once you have the foundation, you can afford to do that. If you don't have it, then you're trying to build a foundation in several places all at once, and it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
And that's my problem at the
Yeah.
moment.
And I don't think it's a bad idea to put your finger in a bunch of pies
Right.
to see which one people want the pie most. But once you figure out which pie people want the most, you need to go, okay,
Right.
we're building this pie and we're not doing anything else. We're just building the pie until we can stand in the pie and
It's
foundation
blueberry,
the
people.
pies.
And
It's
then I'll go
blueberry.
work on the other one.
Right, exactly. And then we're going to come back and we're going to take care of all the things, okay? Okay, all right. So,
Yeah, for me, I have to, and this is where it's rough, is I generally try to work on something to completion.
right.
I don't necessarily have things in a lot of pies, per se. Things.
What do you have against pies?
I love pie. I love pie so much.
Scott loves pies too much, if you know what I mean.
Was it apple?
I don't know what you mean. There is no such thing as too
Hot
much
apple
love
pie.
in pie. It's like, as far as writing goes, I have to stick with one project to completion. But I'm also on the side, which I haven't really announced very much, but I'm working on a board game and a comic. But that takes a different kind of effort.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, as far as writing goes, I usually try to stick with one series until it's done. The one that I'm working on now, because I started writing those. Right, thumb that way. And those will be, I believe they'll be about 5. It'll be a 5-book series. But I've reached a point where I need to go back and finish Before the Shroud, which will be a trilogy, just so that I can finish building the world, because so much happens as I write. Like, I can sit there and world build, but until I write it, it's really only like 10% complete. And so I have to finish Before the Shroud because it takes place in that world, and it's the history of what happens in here. So as far as stalling a series, I have to stall this one so that I can finish that one, so that I know how the whole goddamn world works, and then I can come back and write the next 2 books for those, and then call both good. And then I can move on to my epic fantasy, which will be epic in fantasy and also.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough phenomenon to go through. It's even more rough. I mean, I think the worst is when you kind of run out of ideas, and that's something that I feel like is actually kind of the easiest thing to solve, because if you run out of ideas, all you really need to do is just kind of figure out how to raise the stakes. Actually, because Google comments always like disappear on the thing, I just want to bring this up really quick. Crimson Overlord said, on the topic of losing interest in a series story, sometimes you lose interest because your interest has shifted to something else. For instance, I have a superhero series that I lose interest in frequently, shifting interest onto my main series and then back again at a later date. It's frustrating that the series is stalled, but I'm aware of why. And that's good as long as you, like, when you can recognize it, you know. And the other side of the coin, when you have like, why can't I do this? That is like that drives you mad.
Yeah.
But what was I saying right before that?
You had a fan.
I had a fan?
Dylan says that he really liked Garrett's games, but I get why you stopped.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what sucks. That's the only thing that really, yeah, there's Dylan's comment.
So me and Dylan, and I would just have to figure out who the third person was.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
I was one of them.
You were one of. There we go. So you, me, and Dylan, we can start a support group and talk about what we miss most about Garrett's games. And
I think
why
it
we
would
wish
be
we
way
could.
more fun to play games together and post that. Because
That'd be
then we
great.
could sit there and bitch at each other and, you know.
I think
Fuck each
people would
other.
watch that.
That's
We
the
could-
thing. That's the shitty thing and the risky thing about that kind of strategy is you do risk pissing people off. And thankfully Dylan is an understanding guy, and everybody who is a fan of Non-Zombie is very understanding as well. But you try this thing and you're like, it's not worth the investment. Then the people are like, you'll have some people who are like, but I really like that was great. I want it. Oh, damn it, you know. I don't know.
Has not happened to me once. Not once.
Nobody
not
likes
had-
you, Scott.
I've not had a single request for Landon's Prison 2. Nobody went. That was good.
Yes, but I do recall somebody saying something about Guardians of the Shroud having a really horrible cliffhanger that she wanted to kill you over.
I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, there's been death threats for that one. I'm getting on the second one. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon.
That's fantastic. So okay, so I remember what I was getting onto before, which is that if you are stalled on a series because you don't know what's going to happen next, or if you don't know what to do, I think what you really just have to figure out how to do is how to raise the stakes. And that's kind of what I think you should devote your attention to, because raising the stakes is always a good thing. If your story is boring or uninteresting, raise the stakes. If you need to know what to happen, sorry?
Throw in a dinosaur.
Throw in a dinosaur. For us, it was throw in dragons, you know? Realm Keepers 2, how could this be more awesome? Dragons!
Go
Lots
figure.
of the big ones. Yeah, so raising the stakes should be like your go-to solution or whatever. But that can be hard to figure out too. But with that as a starting point, I think you can work out what to do from there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, hopefully.
Maybe.
Full of excellent advice tonight, we are. Maybe try doing a thing which might not work, but it's good. Maybe. I don't know.
Couldn't hurt.
We write books.
Well, no, we established I write book.
We write book. Speaking of raising the stakes, anybody who is not, we'll just one more self-plug for the night. Anybody who's not reading Nightblade, the characters that are popping up in Mystic so far, like you don't even know how totally amazing they're gonna be. I'm very excited for the rest of Mystic and for Darkfire, dude. Darkfire is the third book in the Nightblade series. That's the title. The ending is gonna be so good, so good. I'm so excited. Oh my god. Super excited. Anyway,
So
It's okay. I know that feeling. I have the same feeling for Hero. I'm just waiting for the very end of that. It's got this final battle scene that makes me all giddy inside, and
it's got to be how George R. R. Martin felt when he thought about the Red Wedding. Just that, like, oh, they're gonna die. My readers are gonna die. I'm actually gonna kill readers.
Have you seen the South Park? Where it was, I think it was like
South
a
Park.
three-parter.
I have seen the South Park.
The South Park. That's how I like to refer
Do
to
you
it.
watch?
So that-
Do you watch
no.
the Dragon Ball Z? I watched the Dragon Ball Z.
You watch South Park. The South Park is a good
wow,
show.
you guys are awesome.
There goes.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But no, they had a three-parter, and it was on Game of Thrones, and there was a wedding being held in the Red Robin, and for those that haven't seen, you absolutely must. It's fantastic. And they nail it right on the head. It's perfect.
That's amazing.
The end.
The end. All right. Well, we are at an hour, so we should probably stall. We should probably
Stall. Let's stall it.
We should probably stall.
I can't leave yet.
Somebody vamp.
I'm waiting.
Vamp. I don't know what
I
vamp.
think we've established we're not very good at vamping.
No.
Almost as good as Crystal does.
Yeah. Dylan Perry says maybe try doing a thing. Quote of the night. Maybe
This show
try
is so full
something.
of
I don't
good
know.
advice.
Boy, last time I'm picking a topic. From now on, all three of you are going to pick topics, and I'm not.
Oh, okay. We
But-
did have a good discussion. It just kind of, had a natural lull, which is Johnny's term for let's end this travesty and go on with our lives.
Yes, exactly. Which we should do. So that will be it for tonight's episode of the Storytelling Podcast. Like I said, Mystic Episode 2 is available on Amazon and nowhere else unless you become a subscriber, which you can also do, which would be awesome. And Chrissy, what do you got that people should go and buy or watch or do?
Sure, Small Bites. I like that one.
Good? Like it?
It's a good
Scott?
Well, you can get Defenders of the Shroud for free today and tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Which-
Defenders of the Shroud.
Second book.
Sorry?
It's the second book of the series, so.
Well, read the first book of the series. God damn it! If you
Right.
haven't read Guardians, look at the cover behind him. It's amazing.
It's
Bam.
pretty awesome. It's a pretty badass cover. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, awesome. I will put an end to this travesty of a podcast. Actually, it hasn't been that bad. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your live comments. We love them as always. Normally, I thank everybody who commented, but tonight there's just too many of you. It warms my blackened little heart. We will be here tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week, Tuesday, every Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live broadcasting on YouTube, and then it goes up on the audio feed. I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Scott is at theshroudbetween.com, and Chrissy is at chrissymoss.com. We'll see you next week. Good night.